What, in your view, are the major risk factors for someone who is exploring a franchise model? What would you like to tell them? What are the risk factors?
And see if it is in sync with what the franchisor is saying, right? That's the only way to figure out. One, you will fact check everything the franchisor is saying. The second thing is you'll also get to understand the business more from a franchisee standpoint. He would tell you the actual pain points, the difficulties, challenges in running this business, and you will also get to such an arrangement. Meaning for F&B, it is very difficult to have multiple people do this. I mean, if it is a retail showroom or even a salon, where it boils down to individual work, it is easier to manage there. But in terms of a restaurant, it is very, very difficult because each dish has to be prepared accordingly, and anything can go wrong in the dish if things are not right. How many stores do they want to do in Chennai? See, if it is a franchisee store, meaning if I am franchising, I cannot have multiple stores in the same area. Right now, I have 3 stores in Annanagar, 3 stores in Kilpauk. We cannot do that if you are doing that as a franchisee model, right?
When you talk about Swiggy and Zomato, the face of Swiggy or Zomato is the delivery boys you see on the road. You see them always, and they've been in the news for the wrong reasons as well. I'm not talking about Swiggy boys or Swiggy people misbehaving with customers. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the way restaurants, some of them have treated the Swiggy or Zomato delivery boys. In some cases, there have been posts in social media saying that these guys are not allowed inside the restaurant, or even they've not been allowed to use the restrooms even. That's not very good publicity for the restaurants.
I see there are many number of riders on the road at this point. We have 55 stores. Each store delivers about 80 to 100 orders a day. Within our brand in Chennai alone, we are doing about 5,000, close to 5,000 deliveries a day. So imagine the number of restaurants across India and the number of riders. Compared to that, the number of complaints that we get to see are very, very minimal. I think majority of the restaurants, 99.99% of the restaurants treat them well, because they also know the rider is the important link between their product and the customer. Meaning if my flask is upside down for the entire 10-minute journey, there is no point delivering that flask. So we understand that. So they are the link between us and the customer and the Zomato, Swiggy platform as well. So everybody treats them well. Some restaurants might do that, partly for the reason that they don't want them in the same area as a posh customer maybe, but restrictions like using the restroom or asking them not to sit, all of that rarely happens, but not overly done at this point. Yeah, so I think negligible at this point. It is not a big concern. The entire fraternity understands the importance of the Swiggy Zomato riders. So they all treat us. We treat them well. All my fellow restaurateurs, they treat them well.
Okay. Yeah. So before you started Chai Kings, you had been a franchisee of several brands. In fact, you were a franchisee of Green Trends Salon as well. But now, after you started Chai Kings, you have not offered franchise. Why?
We were in the franchising this for almost about close to 4.5 years. We managed multiple brands. We managed Green Trend. We had Tony and Guy. We had a Subway, a pizza, multiple things. See, one major reason why we didn't want to do is, when we are growing the brand, we are trying to grow the brand. We wanted to have a complete control over the quality over the product, as well as what the brand stands for, right, in terms of customer service, in terms of product quality and all of that. So we didn't want to have too many people as customers touch point. We don't want 10 franchisees to handle customers in a different way, all of that, when we are trying to grow. So we were completely against that. But also the model demands such an arrangement. Meaning for F&B, it is very difficult to have multiple people do this. I mean, if it is a retail showroom or even a salon, where it boils down to individual work, it is easier to manage there. But in terms of a restaurant, it is very, very difficult because each dish has to be prepared accordingly and anything can go wrong in the dish if things are not right. So we don't want to do that. Also another point to note is majority of I can't recall a brand that is successful for 10-15 years by franchising as well. There are many brands which are franchising. I don't think anybody is 20-year-old at this point except for Subway. Even Subway has kind of moved to a different model and they are trying to buy out all the franchises at this point. So this is not a great model for a brand which is growing. Maybe when the brand is all set, when you're there for about 15 years, when all your processes are set, maybe you can try and see if things will work.
Yeah. So what in your view are the major risk factors for someone who's exploring a franchise model? What would you like to tell them? What are the risk factors?
Okay, so somebody who wants to start up, get a franchisee of a brand and run it.
What are the risk factors for them they should be aware of?
Figure out what kind of risk could come in a certain business. I mean, anything could change anytime. But before you get into a certain franchise, you have to do a basic check of what that brand stands for. What is their thesis of the entire? How do they want to grow the brand? How many stores do they want to do in Chennai? See, if it is a franchisee store, meaning if I am franchising, I cannot have multiple stores in the same area. Right now, I have 3 stores in Anna Nagar, 3 stores in Kilpauk. We cannot do that if you are doing that as a franchisee model, right? Meaning it will obviously eat into each other's revenue. Online orders, meaning if the customer opens up, one of the 3 stores in Kilpauk would come up. For the customer, it's only the brand, right? He wouldn't get to see which order, which branch and all of that. Or the entrepreneur who wants to get into franchise, he'll have to check who the brand is, what they stand for, what is their expansion strategy, the numbers that they're giving, is it right or not? They'll have to do their fact check, meaning obviously there will be good stores, there will be bad stores. Obviously the franchisor would want you to go and visit the good store and get the feedback. As an entrepreneur, you'll have to go to multiple stores and see what the brand stands for, how the other new franchisees are giving the feedback about the brand, all of that. And then you collect the whole feedback about the whole brand and the support and their strategy, and then jump into it. If you have to only listen to what the franchisor says, you might land in trouble. You'll have to do your complete research on what the brand stands for.
Chai Kings doesn't offer franchise, but there are several chai brands which have come up. Many brands in all over the country, they have come up and they offer the franchise for entrepreneurs.
Right.
And what is your advice to people who are taking up tea franchises? What is your advice to? What do you think? What are the basic checks they should be doing?
See, it is common irrespective of whether it is tea or any other F&B or even a salon for whatever matter. I think the basics are the same. You will have to the entrepreneur has to make sure what the model is, right? Meaning what the franchisor would definitely have a business plan. They would say, this is the margin and this is the overall net margin that you would get. They will have to validate that. They'll have to validate, they'll have to meet multiple franchisees, talk to them, understand and see if it is in sync with what the franchisor is saying, right? That's the only way to figure out. One, you will fact check everything the franchisor is saying. The second thing is you'll also get to understand the business more from a franchisee standpoint. He would tell you the actual pain points, the difficulties, challenges in running this business, and you will also get to hear about the mistakes that he has done. See, even if the brand is good, even if the franchisor is good in terms of his rules and regulations, his commercials, there are certain things that can go wrong, like the place you select, the kind of training that you get, the kind of people you have on your store. So the franchisee could give you inputs on where he has gone wrong. So it will also give you a chance to correct when you are jumping in. So that is what you have to do.
So thank you so much, Jawar. It was a pleasure having you with us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wish you all the best. Thank you.